There's certain jobs, of course, that require you to use your brain, but a lot of them just require you to follow directions.
There is a state of mind that can only be achieved by having an audience. Work on your process and what works for you, and then test your ideas on the people around you. Use their reactions and advice to hone your skills until you have a final and finished product. Don't ever be hesitant about working with other people to create the best overall product you can create. We all make mistakes. It's human nature to look back on those things that we did and feel bad about them. But one of the most important things you can do is to not dwell on the past. You are not the same person you were last year, last month, or last week. It's good to learn from these failures, because otherwise you wouldn't be the person you are now.
Success and progress and the feelings of accomplishment.
By using these mistakes as lessons, you can become a better person. Many of us need more discipline and momentum. If you don't feel like getting up and moving, you need to force yourself to do it. Keep your requirements for yourself rigid and never allow yourself to slack off. Make everything in your life into a routine so that it's second nature to do it. You can make excuses for yourself, but you need to mentally prepare to forget them and put in the work that you need to do. You need to learn to manage your life correctly. Focus on the basic needs of every person. Wake up early, brush your teeth, exercise. There are many who get a bad start in their life. Whether or not you can be successful is how you decide to deal with that. Take actions to make your life a happier experience.
A lot of those are connected to discomfort. Like, discomfort is your friend. Some of them just don't have discipline. There's an issue with that as well. There's also an issue with momentum. You're not used to doing it. It's not a part of your life. It's not something that you're accustomed to pushing yourself. There's been many days where I didn't want to work out. I just didn't feel like I had the energy, and I just forced myself. And I think there's very few people out there that know how to force themselves. That's a learned skill. That kind of discipline and focus. You have to have like real rigid requirements of yourself where you don't allow yourself to back out of things and you don't allow yourself to slack off. And I don't think people put those kind of requirements on themselves as if it is a daily principle of life, like what you must get done. Exercise for 45 minutes. And if you did that, I think you'd be healthier and happier, and your body would perform more smoothly. And if you require your body to do things like that, I think it rises to the occasion. There are very few people that have that kind of discipline. So because of that, they come up with excuses. And excuses are a giant part of the problem. It's not simply a physical health issue. There's also mental aspects of it, and discipline's a big one. I just know way too many people who are weak mentally. If I look back on anything I've ever done, mistakes I've ever made, paths that something that I put out that I didn't quite think, man, maybe I just waited 3 months before I released that, or maybe I should have, re-edited that blog post a couple more times before I put it online. Or the most important thing is always for all people to recognize that you're not who you were a year ago. You're not who you were 5 years ago. You're not who you were last week. You're who you are now, and this is the only you have control over. So you gotta regulate how much you dwell on regrets of the past. You really gotta be careful, because it's good to have a little. Because my regrets, whether it's things of professional nature or the very few regrets friendship-wise, which is one thing that makes me very happy. But life is strange. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of factors happening in life. But for sure, who I am now wouldn't have ever happened if I didn't fuck up. If I didn't make those mistakes, I wouldn't have understand the importance of friendship and kindness. And if I hadn't been cruel at some point in my life, or someone hadn't been cruel to me, I wouldn't understand the beauty of love. I wouldn't understand the full range of it, because I hadn't felt the sting. If nobody ever punches you in the face, you don't really appreciate safety. Because a lot of people don't even understand what safety is. You could say, oh, we're safe, but you are so not safe at any moment.
Yeah, it's that, but it's also, there's a state of mind that you only really achieve when you're performing in front of an audience. And you can try to recreate it, but it'll be fake. I don't write in joke form. Like, I don't write the way I say it on stage. I write in sort of a conceptual form, I write in an essay form, and then I sort of extract things that I think are funny out of that. But they really only find the true way I'm going to do them. I only find that in front of an audience. When I'm in front of an audience, then it becomes clear to me how I should and shouldn't say things based in part on how they're reacting and based in part on how I feel when I'm performing the idea. Like I find where the fat of the bit is, and that's where you kind of appreciate economy of words, and you know what to edit out and what to elaborate on, what people aren't totally understanding, and what maybe is over-explained, and all that stuff kind of comes together in front of an audience.
We know how to manage our life correctly, and life doesn't come with a guidebook. Start exercising, get together with your friends, tell them you love them, meet up and have dinner and hug each other, sleep well, drink water. So many of us have a bad head start. Like you're starting off, like how about your dad? He been growing up, getting kicked out of the family. And then starts a family of his own where you don't even know your grandfather. It's madness, right? So you're coming out of this stressful pocket, or maybe your dad goes to jail, or maybe your mom dies when you're young. All these things that happen to people where they have this bad start, right? And then they develop defense mechanisms to deal with all their insecurities, and they get around similar-minded people in these communities of people that think the same way. And then maybe there's gangs, and maybe there's drugs, and maybe there's crime and despair and sadness, and maybe just negative people. Maybe there's none of the above. Maybe there's no danger. It's just annoying. Every day, people complaining about shit. And you're stuck in the mud of humanity with people. It's real hard to engineer 350 million people out of that. But for yourself, you can take actions to make your life better. And if everybody did that, if everybody took actions to make their life a happier experience by doing those things, by exercising, eating well, hugging friends, enhancing community, just trying to be nicer to people.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content.